joining us today. Really excited as we begin 2026 um, because our guest today is going to blow us away. But first, we're going to be looking at why slowing down fuels startup success. And we're doing this with the Mary Poppins of Startups, Naily Makangu. If you're starting 2026 feeling overwhelmed, not just tired, I am talking, that feeling where you feel like Christmas didn't happen. It's not just busy, but you're pulled in 20 directions at once. Then this episode here is for you. Because this year, I have said to myself, I am not setting 10 goals. There's the wheel, right? The wheel of life. This year I've decided I'm going against the grain, and I have chosen just one goal, and that's to go dry in January. And somehow that one decision is already tidying up everything else. It's so funny how everything else just works when you focus on just one thing. So today in my kitchen, I'm sitting with a good friend of mine. We've both ridden the roller coaster from idea on a page to why am I so burnt out, and to talk about how rest and recovery can actually fuel your success. Stay with us till the end because we're each going to share our one big change for 2026 and give you 3 tiny experiments you can use this week to feel less overwhelmed. So let's get right into it. Now, because I'm not having this conversation alone, sitting with me in my kitchen is somebody who has been on my journey with me for years. From wild idea to actual product, from I'm so excited to I might actually be done. She's the software engineer turned startup advisor and the founder of Internal Leaders. They call her the Mary Poppins of Startups, and she cares deeply about tired founders because she and I have been there. She's my friend, Naily Makangu. Naily, welcome to my kitchen.
Thanks, Yvonne, and thanks for inviting me. I've been watching some of your shows, so it's great to actually be on it.
Oh, brilliant. I've been watching your shows, Naily, and I love them. I couldn't get off. It was better. I promise that one of the things I'm doing this year is falling asleep by 10:30. Because of you.
That's great, actually. Less time on Netflix and the likes, so it's good.
So now we have like the kind of accountability, like call me at 10:30 to get me off your show. Oh my, you know what? Today you're not just a guest, all guests really, they truly do mean a lot to us in my kitchen. But you're not just a headline lately. You're not a LinkedIn profile to me. You are my friend. And we've been in the same mastermind group now for years. We've sat together on Zoom calls when our businesses were nothing but an idea on a Google Doc.
Yeah.
We've seen each other exhausted, excited, disappointed, hopeful, and sometimes all in the same mastermind meeting.
No, it's incredible actually when you say that the journey of a founder is never straightforward, and it goes through ups and downs, and sometimes you get super excited about small things because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so you might as well be happy about what to do.
So this is like I've called it a Mary Poppins of Startups.
Yeah.
So I know you're a software engineer. You've turned to, after a few reasons behind that, and we'll get into that, you then became a tech consultant and a startup advisor. And you really are good at helping struggling teams, and you help them to somehow find a way where they can shape, scale, and breathe again. Tell us a little bit, though, about what that journey has been for you.
Yeah, I think one of the things about my journey is just things just happen, because I ask myself certain questions or people mention things. For someone who spends her life planning, whether for myself or for other people's businesses, when it comes to taking huge life decisions, are more of a, it's the right time, just jump in it and then we figure out the rest later, which I appreciate for other people can be quite time consuming or frustrating. But again, I was a software engineer, and quite frankly at that time, I kind of was okay with people. Come from my background, I'm not really a people person, at least when I was much younger. And I was like, leave me in my box and I'm just gonna write my code, that was it. But as I was working, I noticed one key thing, which has been the biggest transformation for myself and the way I work with other people. I wanted to leave a company that I really, really enjoyed, with the work that I enjoyed, and a team that I enjoyed, and a manager that I enjoyed, right? Simply because there was no structure, there was a lot of miscommunication between different teams, and we didn't really know what we were working on. So it was a new innovative idea that we were building on top of an existing software, especially back in the days where we were starting to use tablets quite a lot. So how do you retrofit something completely huge that's been probably started when I was still in my nappies or the likes? Now that we were going to the tablet world, there was a lot of things. My team grew from just a few people that we had in Cambridge to having to work with people in India, in the US. And as you can imagine, it was a complete nightmare in terms of communication issues that were slowing us down. After trying to deal with it, I got the point where I asked myself, I'm not actually enjoying it when I work, right? It's not play anymore. It's just frustration, and it really is overshadowing everything that I'm doing. What can I do to fix it? So then I started looking at different ways of getting the team set up together, looking at things like processes. How do we manage the project? What tools are we using? Are we all using the same tools for communications? Which wasn't the case. I started centralizing things, giving people the freedom to do whatever they wanted to do, but also giving them that little bit of structures. That means that even if there's a problem, even if we're all in different countries, we could work better together. And that was actually of jumping into more of a project management, tech lead kind of role, simply because I was answering this question. I love absolutely everything here, but I'm not playing. And I need to go back to that sense of playing when I'm at work. And that led me to that path. And obviously, as they say, once you go down a path, you keep going.
You can't go back. Burn the ships.
Exactly.
So the classic, kind of like the classic founder journey, right? So you experienced a problem and you saw, you know what, I could potentially be the solution to this problem. You know, that's the bit where it's really exciting. There's that optimism, you know, about starting a business. And then what? So the reality hits, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that. So this is something I think all founders will experience. You know, that excitement when you're starting, you get started. Where does the burnout creep in?
Well, I think when I started my business, by that point I had a lot of experience managing people, and I used to run non-profit charities as well in my spare time somehow. So I did that as a president of a non-profit for a year. So I had a good grasp, luckily at least, of what is required to run a company. I was working with a team that was supporting me on all the projects that we were running together, and that was a positive. And naively, I thought, well, if you run your business, it's kind of going to be the same, but just a bit more difficult. When you start running, especially the moment you say, this is it, I'm going to do it. And I did it cold as well. I literally went to bed. The next day I thought, maybe I will start a company, maybe not. And eventually I declined, which was one of the reasons why I started the company. But I didn't really sit down and think about all of the other implications that is required to run a business. You think you know, and a lot of people know. You must have done an MBA. You think you know. When you start, that's when reality hits. It's incredible how much you think that 24 hours in a day is not enough. There's never enough time in the day. And when you first start, there's always that sensation of, I'm not doing enough. There's so many things I need to do. I need to find customers. I need to grow my business. But then you think that a question, that something simple that you need to do can be answered straight away. Well, to answer that, there's so many other layers. So small things like having to do your VAT, your taxes, how do you register the company? Of course, accountant will help you with that, great. But then you need to think about things like marketing. I come from a tech background, right? I used to love blogging and the likes, but it's a different ball game working in terms of marketing content. And I'm going beyond just social media, because that's another thing. I hated social media when I first started my business. I remember the first time I recorded my first ever video, I think it's still in YouTube, I was static, I couldn't move, I hated just seeing myself, especially when I was editing it. I didn't like hearing my own voice. And it went against everything that was important to me, because I was like, I'm not a public person. I don't mind being around people, but I don't see myself as, oh, look at me, this is what I want to talk about on LinkedIn. Oh, this is a podcast, you know. So the biggest challenge for founders is first the realization of you are fighting your own boundaries, or the boundaries that you thought were your boundaries. You are fighting your own beliefs, you are fighting yourself, and you are growing. So you have to do things that goes against how you feel, which takes a lot of energy. That's in addition to all of the work. You need to do a lot of things like marketing the content. Yet if you don't come from that background, it will take time. Obviously, back when I first started, there was no ChatGPT and the likes. But even now with ChatGPT, there's still the fact that you need to know what you're doing and why, right? How do you come up with services? How do you price it? How do you set my favorite one was, you finally negotiated a contract, it's been signed, start the work, money doesn't come. Like, I thought we did contracts.
Hold on a minute.
You're like, well, okay, I will delay a little bit. And obviously, as you keep on going, you then start realizing that maybe the way you wrote the contract, there was no clause to kind of penalize the person that doesn't pay on time, because of, you know, all of the small things about how do you structure a powerful contract that can protect you even if payments have been delayed for one reason. I didn't know that when I first started. So there's a lot of learning along the way, and there's a lot of pain that comes with that as well. But I will end this by saying that it's, regardless of where this journey or when this journey will end, if it ever ends, it was worth it.
So what I'm hearing then from a founder's perspective, you know, you and I, we kind of live this now. We constantly, sometimes even live in the burnout without realizing, and a lot of people are in that position. And it's so easy to think, oh, the burnout is happening because I'm trying to cram too much in. But what I'm hearing from you, it's actually having that patience to know that some things will take time. Because you can make a spreadsheet as long as you want, you know, you can cram as many things in there. But the kind of reasoning behind that is that wanting everything to work now. You know, and that's, you know, that's the main challenge is just knowing that it will actually take time and it's okay. And maybe even to some point to understand that you need to put boundaries on yourself, you know, not even on people, just on yourself. You know, to know that, yes, it is hard work, right? Because your product, your marketing, you know, your tax, your accounts. You mentioned a few things in there. I was like, oh my God, I see myself in all this, right? You're all that. And so from your opinion, because you work with a lot of founders right now, and you're in a unique position because you're actually seeing the product being built. You're actually working with the people, right? You're seeing both sides, product itself, the tech, the person. What are you seeing with overwhelm, especially with what you just mentioned, ChatGPT and AI? It's actually perhaps even causing more damage because you ask ChatGPT a question and a solution, it gives you 50.
And you feel like all 50 are important. So I have to create a document to store all of that content. Now is an additional document to what I had before, yes.
And ChatGPT goes like, would you like me to give you more?
No, that's it.
Yeah, so what are you seeing, with founders right now? and how can people identify what stage they're at?
Yes, I guess it's one of the things that you will see, at least the different types of burnout and overwhelm we can see. It also depends on the stage of the startup. So if you are very early stage, it's usually a lot of the stress is related to having a huge vision, not having enough people on the team, maybe not having enough money to reach that vision, and obviously running after funding, right, which is the biggest headache. When you're on the other side, you might feel a little bit better concerning your runway per se, maybe because you've already closed a few rounds, but you then have this overwhelm and this sense of, I'm growing very quickly, I'm bringing more people on on my team, but everything's a bit chaotic because we are not sure what we want to do. And of course, if you're starting to get customers, you never had the chance to run large pilot with a lot of customers. You might not have a project manager or someone that can handle all of the different streams and say, right, we're delivering for this client, this is how we need to do this is how we need to work together, even if we know that there are still problems with the platforms and other things that we need to deal with. So just those two, I mean, there's many more, guys. I hear you there. There's a lot more, but those are the two biggest buckets that we can see. Now, one of the interesting things when you mentioned ChatGPT and AI is how it's confusing the landscape more, right? Because one of the key things I always advise people when they are in that state of overwhelm is to kind of have a brain dump of all of the noise that they have in their heads, put it into a mind map so that you can at least see it visually. And yes, it's going to be scary because you're going to have a lot of things, but just going through that process without wanting to fix anything and definitely not fixing yourself will help you clear your mind. And then you can start thinking about, how do I work better? What do I need to change? And how my team can work better? With ChatGPT, yes, it can help you with some of that, but you need to be very, very careful because it gives you a lot of answers on everything. And every single tool that you have today will have some version of AI. It's very, very annoying because even my favorite to-do list that I used to pretty much run my business, sometimes I start working and then I get a pop-up because today we've got this new AI. You can do this. You can create super agents for this and that. If you are chasing the AI game, you will not have the time to work because most of people will go and start trying to put the AI in the systems or do fancy stuff, but they don't even know what are the processes and how the company works. If you don't know that, my question is, are you automating the right thing? Are you just copy-pasting all of the crap that you have there, which is actually excellent because I believe that a startup without crap means that you're wasting so much time on processes when you should have been looking for customers. But the idea is that you need to kind of look at, okay, we've survived and we made it to this far. Congratulations. To make it on the other side, what do we need to let go of, right? And what did we need to improve? And whilst you're making that journey, then you can use the tool and the AI tool to help. So yes, so in terms of AI, I would say be very careful and be very selective of what you're using. And of course, I will definitely say, make sure that you toggle all the right privacy settings and avoid putting your entire life on an AI that you're not paying for to begin with. And the other ones, well, there's nothing we can do about that. They already know everything about us anyway.
So I think that's beautiful. You've even given us tips on AI. So we have to bring you now back for another AI episode. So we've actually just written that down. Bring her back.
Yeah, because I had a lot to say on that. Stop.
Love that. Yeah, so really, really interesting because I think a lot of founders will identify themselves in either one of those stages, right? There's the first stage where you're just getting started, or even that first stage where you've actually got started, but now you're iterating or scaling or introducing a new product or going to a new market, which, being a founder, you're always almost in that first stage in different ways. But what you don't have there is a lot of resources, right? So you might not have money, and so then you're kind of like, okay, I have to chase the money, I have to chase the investors, and that in itself can produce overwhelm. And then there's a second stage where you do have some resources, right? You do have some money, you do maybe have the team, but now there's that almost that drive to cram in as much as you can to do everything at once, and over-reliance can come in, right? Either over-reliance on the team or over-reliance on AI. And so what do you propose as a solution in those stages, so that a founder can actually feel, you know what, I am able to rest somehow.
I like that, it's somehow. Well, I can share, maybe I can look at it from the personal aspect and then the professional aspect. I'll start with the professional aspect first, because as much as I love to be the Mary Poppins of startups or businesses or tech or whatever, one of the key things is knowing that there's no magic wand to anything. So if you think that you can just wake up one day and say that by the end of this year my business will be streamlined and everything will be stable, some businesses, yes, you can get to that point, but if you are innovating in a startup, there's always going to be challenges. That's just the thing. So if you, rather than waiting for that time, the question is, how do you create those pocket moments that allows you to get out of overwhelmed and actually be more efficient and be more productive? From a professional perspective, the first thing I would say, try to think a little bit about who do you need in your team to give you that space, right? It could be that in the early stage, of course, budget is an issue. You still want to invest on a virtual assistant, for example, or a founder associate, someone that is agile enough, that has enough knowledge to be able to pick up certain areas of the organization to support you personally, even if you have a team. From the team perspective, then that's where you start looking at, as I'm growing the team specifically, who do I bring in that can help me, that can be a bit of a buffer between me and the rest of the team, right? And that's kind of the stuff that I do when I take on. So I worked for a client, I think it was a year ago, where I got in there just to help them with the building their platforms. So I was looking more at the product, like product ownership, project management type of role. And before I knew it, I was overseeing the hardware department, the data science team, and as well as just the platform team as well. Obviously, it wasn't a giant company, but I was kind of looking at all of those different streams so that the CTO could then take a bit of space in his head, including the CEO. They could relax a little bit because they know that the day-to-day is being handled by Naily. Then they could go and start working on other things. How do we scale even further than from the point where they were? They were looking at a lot of exciting discussions with potentially big clients. Yet if you have to work at that level and then have to work at the level where a developer asks you, what do we do with this button? That's a lot.
So you ended up becoming the product manager of and then also becoming the chief operating officer.
I had to, because one day we're meant to install the hardware at the client. I was thinking, I don't do sales, right? I'm not taking sales on board. But then when I asked them, nobody knew who was installing what at which customer. And I'm like, okay, created a spreadsheet, put all of the information on our system so that once we have an installation, we have the details on from our perspective as well. And then after that, I was like, do we have devices? They're like, oh, we don't know how much we have in stock, or maybe we do, maybe we don't. I'm like, oh my God, no, we need to have a yes or no.
So you've gone in there to help them so that they're not overwhelmed, but now you're the one being overwhelmed. But this is something, I think this is classic example of us as founders, and what happens. It's so easy for that to happen. Because one of the things with being a founder is the reason we become founders is we are there to produce a solution. We've seen a problem, just like, when I first got started, I had been a teacher and I saw there was a problem in schools because a lot of teachers were leaving. And I was going through that same situation where I was considering leaving, but I had got into teaching because I really did love working with children. So the original reason why we've gotten into something ends up being the reason why we want out of it, but we don't completely want out of it because we found a better canon, right? We've seen there's a better thing out there. and we're just the Moseses that can make it work. For those listening, I'm talking about about the Bible, which I'm not very good at, but I did grow up reading the Bible, so that's kind of where that example is coming from. So you've seen that there's a promised land somewhere where potentially you could lead people who are going through a similar experience down there, but then somehow in doing that we get mired into a lot of other things, and then the overwhelm happens. And because it happens in a very subtle way, right? Because when we get started, we're so excited, we don't realize when it's happening, and that like you're there to help this business, and and you're seeing the problems that they're having because you understand this, you understand tech, and you're working with people as well. So you're seeing both sides of it, and you're saying, I could easily put in something that will help them. I could put in a spreadsheet, but inevitably what is happening is you're then putting more on your shoulders, and they're getting some reprieve, but then essentially the one thing you're there to do then will become a challenge, right? And that's what happens with all of us. The one thing that we've got into business to do, it ends up being a challenge.
Yes, and actually, I want to add something on that point.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that, because that happens quite a lot when you're in a startup, and that's just not for the founders actually. And I think it's a good thing to mention in terms of how can the founders also support their team when they go on that journey, because it's never going to be a straightforward journey. There's always something that will happen. Even if you wake up on Monday, you said, I know exactly what we need to achieve as a team. By Friday, things will come along the way, right? So I always pay attention. Tuesday. One of the key things I always pay attention to is when my workload increases, because like I said, for this particular case, if we do not install, or if we don't have a way of tracking when installation happens, then my engineers will have to be on site on the days when I need them to do something else. So we are losing anyway. But the more I started taking on more responsibilities, especially when it came to looking at some aspect of helping at least set up that operation bit a little bit and then just send it back to sales. I also need to bear in mind, need to bear in mind what is happening in my world, and how are we discussing that, right? So from my perspective, yes, there's definitely an overwhelm, but at the end of the day, I actually like this job, so I like what I did, but I need to be aware that something happened, and then how do what tools do I use on a personal level to kind of counteract that, right? Because what most people do when they get to that point where I was doing so much work and there's always a lot to do, you then stop. Maybe small things are going out. Maybe you don't speak to your partner as much, or maybe you don't go to the gym. Maybe you don't do all those things. But that's at the moment where you need to ramp those things up, so that whatever overwhelm or whatever stress that is coming because of the job is actually it's coming because it's there. It's a founder. You cannot take that away, but you are releasing it because you are looking after yourself from a personal perspective, and more importantly, also understand where your boundary lies and where you can go, even for a professional. So I'm really jumping in and saying, okay, I'm going to help you to do this. But if I see this is completely out of what I should be doing, or it wasn't agreed as part of our contract, I will either ask more time, or I will just say, I'm sorry, I can't help, but if you want me to help, here's the chance.
give me a moment. So if anyone is listening and they're thinking, that's me, I have been through this journey. I started really enthusiastic, or I started because I saw a problem, or I started because I wanted to go somewhere, and I wanted to really experience a good place to work. I wanted to be part of a really good team. I wanted to bring a solution, to the world, based on my experience. And now you're at that place where you're like, I can't believe it's the 6th of January and I went out. Then it's not a nice place to be. And if that's you and you're thinking, that's me, well, stay with us until the end. because just as we mentioned at the beginning, we are going to share with you just three tiny experiments that you can try this week, and they will help you straight away. I'm talking from today. 3 experiments that you can try and that will help you feel less alone, because Naily and I have both been there. And then we are each going to share our one big change for 2026. So one thing that we are putting in place that will make sure for us, we will call each other to make sure we're following this. But this is one thing that we truly believe. I mean, Naily has tried it before, I have tried it before, and that's why we're still here 5 years later. Rather than jumping from one thing to another because we can't handle it. And Naily is doing great things. Naily, if you don't mind just sharing with our listeners some of the exciting things that you're dealing with at the minute, and how your year, just last year, how it blew up. I've been seeing you all over the place. You're now Founders Institute mentor. Tell us a little bit about that. What is Founders Institute? How has that been for you?
Yes, it's been quite it was a busy year last year, and it ended even much better than I thought it would be, working on a very exciting project. And I know that some people say that you always go into organization on stressful projects. How do you find that exciting? Like, well, if it was actually easy, I probably wouldn't do it. So let's just put it out there. That's probably how I work. But
it didn't start that way, isn't it? 2025 did not start that way. I remember that call we had, and that was really difficult.
Yes, exactly. Because I was coming off from one project, and as usual, there was there still is a shift, but I think the shift is going the other way, which is interesting. But last year, there was a massive shift, especially with the rise of AI and ChatGPT, where you are dealing with a lot of people who are either let go, or a lot of companies that could have worked with you, but then they can't because they are using ChatGPT to build their product. Great, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It depends on how you are doing that to really understand the pain and what is required to actually build the platform. In addition to that, from a startup perspective as well, coming off from a couple of years of very, very tough fundraising, just landscape altogether, also affected my pipeline a bit. So it was really a bit challenging trying to and personally as well, I wanted to grow my business and try to reposition it, and so that I can work with larger organizations as well as startups, or
produce a solution. We've seen a problem, just like, when I first got started, I had been a teacher, and I saw there was a problem in schools because a lot of teachers were leaving. And I was going through that same situation where I was considering leaving, but I had got into teaching because I really did love working with children. So the original reason why we've gotten into something ends up being the reason why we want out of it, but we don't completely want out of it because we found a better canon, right? We've seen there's a better thing out there. And we're just the Moseses that can make it work. For those listening, I'm talking about about the Bible, which I'm not very good at. But I did grow up, reading the Bible, so that's kind of where that example is coming from. So you've seen that there's a promised land somewhere where potentially you could lead people who are going through a similar experience down there. But then somehow in doing that, we get mired into a lot of other things, and then the overwhelm happens. And because it happens in a very subtle way, right? Because when we get started, we're so excited, we don't realize when it's happening, and that you're there to help this business. And you're seeing the problems that they're having because you understand this, you understand tech, and you're working with people as well. So you're seeing both sides of it, and you're saying, I could easily put in something that will help them. I could put in a spreadsheet, but inevitably, what is happening is you're then putting more on your shoulders, and they're getting some reprieve,
But then essentially the one thing you're there to do then will become a challenge, right? And that's what happens with all of us. The one thing that we've got into a business to do, it ends up being a challenge.
Yes, and actually, I want to add something on that point. I definitely agree with that, because that happens quite a lot when you're in a startup, and that's just not for the founders actually. And I think it's a good thing to mention in terms of how can the founders also support their team when they go on that journey, because it's never going to be a straightforward journey. There's always something that will happen. Even if you wake up on Monday, you said, I know exactly what we need to achieve as a team. By Friday, things will come along the way, right? So I always pay attention. Tuesday. One of the things I always pay attention to is when my workload increases, because like I said, for this particular case, if we do not install, or if we don't have a way of tracking when installation happens, then my engineers will have to be on site on the days when I need them to do something else. So we are losing anyway. But the more I started taking on more responsibilities, especially when it came to looking at some aspect of helping at least set up that operation bit a little bit and then just send it back to sales. I also need to bear in mind, need to bear in mind what is happening in my world and how are we discussing that, right? So from my perspective, yes, there's definitely an overwhelm, but at the end of the day, I actually like this job. So I like what I did, but I need to be aware that something happened. And then how do I use, what tools do I use on a personal level to kind of interact that, right? Because what people do when they get to that point where I was doing so much work and there's always a lot to do, you then stop. Maybe small things are going out. Maybe you don't speak to your partner as much, or maybe you don't go to, maybe you don't do all these things. But that's at the moment where you need to ramp those things up, so that whatever overwhelm or whatever stress that is coming because of the job is actually it's coming because it's there. It's a founder. You cannot take that away. But you are releasing it because you are looking after yourself from a personal perspective, and more importantly, also understand where your boundary lies and where you can go, even from a professional. So I'm really good at jumping in and saying, okay, I'm going to help you to do this. But if I see this is completely out of what I should be doing, or it wasn't agreed as part of our contract, I will either ask for time, or I will just say, I'm sorry, I can't help, but if you want me to help, here's the change.
give me a moment. So if anyone is listening and they're thinking, that's me, I have been through this journey. I started really enthusiastic, or I started because I saw a problem, or I started because I wanted to go somewhere, and I wanted to really experience a good place to work. I wanted to be part of a really good team. I wanted to bring a solution to the world based on my experience. And now you're at that place where you're like, I can't believe it's the 6th of January and I went out. Then it's not a nice place to be. And if that's you and you're thinking, that's me, well, stay with us until the end. Because just as we mentioned at the beginning, we are going to share with you just three tiny experiments that you can try this week, and they will help you straight away. I'm talking from today. 3 experiments that you can try and that will help you feel less alone, because Naily and I have both been there. And then we are each going to share our one big change for 2026. So one thing that we are putting in place that will make sure for us, we will call each other to make sure we're following this. But this is one thing that we truly believe. I mean, Naily has tried it before, I have tried it before, and that's why we're still here 5 years later, rather than jumping from one thing to another because, we can't handle it. And Naily is doing great things. Naily, if you don't mind just sharing with our listeners some of the exciting things that you're dealing with at the minute, and how your year, just last year, how it blew up, because I've been seeing you all over the place with our Founders Institute mentor. Tell us a little bit about that. What is Founder Institute? How has that been for you?
Yes, it's been quite a busy. It was a busy year last year, and it ended even much better than I thought it would be. Working on a very exciting project, and I know that some people say, but you always go into organization on stressful projects. How do you find that exciting? Like, well, if it was actually easy, I probably wouldn't do it. So let's just put it out there. That's probably how I work. But
it didn't start that way, isn't it? 2025 did not start that way. I remember that call we had, and that was really difficult.
Yes, exactly. Because I was coming off from one project, and as usual, there was a big. There still is a shift, but I think the shift is going the other way, which is interesting. But last year there was a massive shift, especially with the rise of AI and ChatGPT, where you are dealing with a lot of people who are either let go, or a lot of companies that could have worked with you, but then they can't because they are using ChatGPT to build their product. Great, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It depends on how you are doing that to really understand the pain and what is required to actually build the platform. In addition to that, from a startup perspective as well, coming off from a couple of years of very, very tough fundraising, just landscape altogether, also affecting my pipeline a bit. So it was really a bit challenging trying to and personally as well, I wanted to grow my business and trying to reposition it, and so that I can work with larger organizations as well as startups, but what does it actually mean? So essentially, when you're making a big shift like that, it's a big shift mentally, it's a big shift from your marketing perspective, everything that you have to do. And marketing is, I have a lot of respect for it. I would rather code every day and do any techie stuff than marketing. So there was quite a lot that was going in there. Now, as part of a lot of the seeds that are already planted, of course, it's been great. I didn't join Founder Institute this last cohort, but I was with them for about 2 years, which was a great space. What I love about Founder Institute, and as I was a director there, I was able to speak with a lot of startups. Every week I will have 2 to 3 hours and speaking to startups about their ideas, fleshing them. Sometimes it was from the seed of, I just got something in my head, I don't know what to do. I'm like, okay, fine, let's go on a call. I will help with a diagram. Like, they're talking to me, and then I could just create diagrams that could represent what they wanted, and they can take that if they want to work with other tech teams, but at least getting that clarity in what I need to do next, whether I'm starting from the very beginning or I'm further along. And I work with other company that was quite exciting as well, where my role is mostly to run different types of tech projects, innovative projects. And sometimes my roles tend to be more like, even if it's like project manager, product owner, or sometimes even they have good, strong software engineer, but they don't have someone that can kind of do a bit of technical leadership role as well. So it's been very varied, in addition to exciting public speaking opportunities. So that's something I will be pursuing as well this year, because I just love coming on podcasts and events as well. Yeah.
And we're so glad to have you, Naily. For me, I really look up to you. Because I've kind of like seen your journey and where it's been, and even just us doing the podcast, it was from a conversation you and I had, if you remember, like 3 years ago, and then it kind of iterated and changed over the years. But what a lot of people will see now is the successful Naily, right? The Naily who is working with Silicon Valley's top accelerator, which is what Founders Institute is, right? So Founders Institute is where you go when you're just getting started, and it kind of propels you. I went through a Founders Institute, so I get that. What people will not see is the Naily who was burnt out, the calls that we had where things were really desperate, like you had so much on your plate. Talk us through that journey, like how did you get to that place, and then how did you get out of that place to where you are now, which is, having a workplace as our playground, and working with smaller hubs, like Cornwall, and places like that. Take us through that experience for you. What did that feel like? And because a lot of founders watching will recognize that place.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that was something that I had to tackle was asking for help and not being sure when you can ask for help or who you can ask for help. And more importantly, just reach out to have a conversation with someone when you feel a little bit lonely or things are just not going the way you want it to be. Now, from my perspective, I spend a lot of time in Madrid and in Cambridge as well. So, I mean, between two cities, and I work from home most of the time. One of the things that happens when you're a founder is that you lose the team per se, right? Whether if you have a team, depending on how big the team is, you might not have someone at your level that you can talk to and bounce ideas. And the mastermind was crucial for me to have people like Yvonne and all of the other the other people who are in our mastermind. The other aspect, if you are working on your own, and as is my role, one of the things I found extremely challenging was jumping in a team, working and being part of that team, seeing the changing, seeing people develop, seeing the founders getting that sense of things are amazing, seeing the team being able to be more productive because of the processes that I've put in place, because of the work that I've done, the changing in mindset, just the support that I bring. And then obviously when my time comes, I have to fly away and let them continue, which is exciting in one way because they have the tools to go forward with, but it's also sad because on one end I'm like, oh, I may never see or speak to those people again, right? Mm-hmm. And because I work on projects and maybe for a year, up to a year to with a team, you kind of get that sense of loss happening when you stop working on the project. The second part is one of the biggest things, and which every time I speak to a founder that comes from a technical background, I always tell them, put yourself out there much earlier than you think. Marketing and sales is one of the toughest things. Even those who are in that field can tell you that they have tricks and things that they do, but it's all about numbers, how much time you put yourself out there. But it is not in your genetics, right? It's not in my genes as a tech person. It takes a lot. It took a lot from me, where the marketing days, the days where I have to work on sales, you have to send emails, but you're never going to get a reply from maybe 80% or 90% of the people that you send an email to. You don't see productivity because you're putting a lot of things, but you're not getting enough back. And then you start looking at your own runway. Oh my God, I'm running out of cash. What am I going to do? Am I going to pay my rent? I'm going to eat. And all of that affected me personally and mentally for quite a long time. And in addition to that, the other key thing, I mean, the biggest challenge about being a founder is that the back stops with you, the good and the bad. So if you are struggling, even if you are struggling mentally, you still need to wake up. And there were days where I just feel like I cannot get out of bed. So I'm going to take maybe a right note. I'm just going to get out of bed tomorrow and try to work as much as possible. The mistake I used to do before is that if I have one of those days, the next day when I eventually get up, I will run, I will sprint. And then
I've got energy today. I can do this. I can conquer the world.
On one side, I feel like, well, okay, my energy is back. But then on the other side, it's like, oh, I've got energy today. Let me just do as much as possible in case I break down again or in case something negative is going on again.
Yeah,
but you kind of accept
boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the biggest things that helped me to get out of this and helped me to feel better, still get affected mentally, but it's not as drastic as it was, let's say, 3 years ago, right? And that's because there is a better appreciation on the fact that this is a marathon. Right?
Yes.
This is a marathon. Better appreciation on my own psychology. How do I react? How do I behave? When something goes wrong, I used to have a lot of tools that over the years, ever since I was working, like, I don't know, when I got to Cambridge years ago, I've been picking up different tools because I used to read a lot about the mind. Then I use those tools on myself when things are actually going really well, so that when things are going bad, they are at my fingertips. This is one of the key tips that I share with people. Most people wait for the bad days to then try to figure out how to develop the skill set and resilience. I believe that you cannot become more resilient if you only go through amazing things in life, because resilience is only measured through issues. But having said that, there are some things that you can put as part of the way you behave, so that when you're going through tough times, even though it's difficult, they are part of you, right? So as a challenge, I know that, I don't advocate for New Year challenge or things like that. But if there was a couple of things that you want to pick up, then think about yourself. I'm going to share my things. Not asking you to take it. If it's not for you, that's okay. But think about the things that you take for granted, or the things that you do when you're good and that you want to get better at, and turn that into a routine, so that when you get to the point where you are in such a dark place, and I've been in dark places where, I don't even want to have the lights on in my flat during the day. When you get
make it go away.
Exactly. When you get to those dark places, the routine that you created before, even if you cannot maintain them at the same level, your brain will be tuned to that, right? Your brain will know how to get back to that. Or even when you force yourself, it's kind of you unlocking a part of your brain that says, oh, you're doing this. Oh, yes, I remember that when we do this, we do it every day. So I can tell myself, especially if I get to the point where I call my sister and I said, I can't go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. She knows I'm very, very low, because I love the gym. So if I don't go, then something is seriously wrong.
It's an issue.
Exactly.
So would you say that then workload is not what we normally think about it? It's not just, oh, I've got a lot on my plate. What I'm hearing is there was the physical element, right? All the stuff that you needed to deal with. And then there was the emotional element. All these people I'm building a relation with, and now I've got to let them go, right? So that's an emotional element that a lot of people might not even think of. It might be a customer. This is a customer I'm so used to having. Now they're not going to be there anymore. Or especially B2B sales, right? You do form relationships over time. And that can be an emotional element to that. And then there's the mental. So the load is heavy. That all the things that you need to be considering and thinking about. So we are going to come back to the tips, and Naily has already given a really good couple of tips there, with putting things in daily, that will keep you going even when things are not there, so that you're training your mind. So that kind of deals with the mental element. And then the emotional element, which is have an outlet, like go to the gym, have a buddy that you can call on the days when things are not so good, but don't just be the one who's always calling them. Let them know they can call you too. But let's move to the next section, where right now you've got your workplace is a playground. You are working with hubs. So you're not just working with individuals, but you're actually working with smaller hubs as well. I know I saw you doing a talk once with JCI. So let's talk about your idea of a workplace playground, because that's one of my favorite phrases of yours. So you said it's not just about free food and retreat. For you, it's about building trust. It's about building leadership, communication, processes, and growth, so that work becomes more like a place people can play at high level, not a place where they survive. So for the founder who's listening with a small team, maybe they're remote, maybe they're hybrid, what do you actually mean by a workplace playground in a situation like that?
Yes, I think when I talk about, obviously, a workplace playground, you've explained it quite beautifully, and I can see that you spend a lot of time reading my posts on LinkedIn. So
Like I would do anything but.
Yes, because most people, when I said, "Oh, this is nice,"
I have been trolling you, Naily.
Yes,
I'm just talking to you, but actually, a proper troll.
Yes. Because there is a pyramid that I share with people that I work with to get them to understand what it means. And at the top of the pyramid, the very, very top, there is the play and fun as people see it, right? So that will be, as you've mentioned, the free foods, the day away and things like that. But the only way you can make it to the top of the pyramid is by starting at the bottom, which is trust, and then being able to have good processes of people understanding what are we doing and why, as well as the processes and the communication. So most people, when they see a problem, whether it's on a project or whether it's in an organization, large or small, doesn't matter. The first thing that people will think about is to take people away and have fun. Now, this is great, but if it's all you're relying on, you're not doing anything. If you are a smaller company where budget might be an issue, then there are ways where the play can be integrated by the way people feel about themselves. So if you are remote and you're thinking about this aspect of building a workplace playground, what I tend to do with some of my teams is by sitting together after we've been working for a while, we sit together and says, right, here are all of the different areas, right? Let's say the planning. How do you you think about the way that we work together on a project? What needs to be changed? What needs to be updated? And how can we live with what we have today and keep on improving it slowly? So then by getting to the point where people can wake up and they know tomorrow I'm going to be working on XYZ, means that, especially if you're remote, they come to work and they know exactly what they need to do. The other things is something as simple as knowing where do I go to find the information, or where do I go to find the answer. By having that streamlined, again, do not do everything in one day, work towards that. By having the processes that allows people to, one, understand their job, two, onboarding new people from the team in the team, and then they know what to do. Three, getting different departments, that's the fun part, working well together where they have a better appreciation of each other's job. And this is why I spend a lot of time with sales, right? And people always wonder, but why do you care so much about sales? You work in product and tech. Sales are selling what we are building. I mean, if they don't sell it, well, there's no money coming in. If we build the wrong thing, because we seeing sales as the people that ask for too much, this true, because sales ask for too much. But they ask because they know the customer, right? And
if that's the when you're in sales.
Exactly. I mean, we see the platform, we have an understanding of the platform, we have an understanding of the market, but they are the people that go out day to day to speak to the people that we are selling to. Yeah. So how do you create an appreciation for each other's job, right? Because I worked for a client where sales was fighting marketing was fighting product, everybody was fighting all around. And I sneakily start working on building the relationship from the product team to the sales team, and then with all of the other teams, to get them to realize that we need each other. But the most important thing is, if I'm product and I don't understand why sales is frustrated with us and how us not meeting the deadline affects them and the way they're selling, then we don't have that empathy. And the same goes from the sales team. They might say, but you told us that you were going to launch a product 2 months ago. They didn't realize that at the last minute there was an issue with the platform that nobody thought about before, and that means that the platform is unstable, right? So by having the discussion, then sales can have a bit of empathy and keeping the communication clear, so that if they know in advance, they can also change the way that they're talking to the customer wherever it's possible, and vice versa from the product perspective. So I think that creating those areas where it's about making sure that your team mix with each other and understand how they work is even more vital than just having a party. What I hate about their way is that most people will only bring their teams. So product will go with product, or let's say the tech team goes with the tech team, and the sales team goes with the sales team, the marketing. That's great if you want your teams to get to know each other. But how can you have also things, even if it's a dinner or a drink, where you mix the teams together and make sure that people don't sit just next to people that I work with, because that's how you are helping them to get to know each other. But fundamentally, you really want to build trust by understanding your team, by letting people make the decisions at the level they're at, even if you are overseeing things, empowering the team to work, giving the team the tools that they need to work, and you there to remove blockers without overstaying your welcome. So you there to help, but not take over. So doing all of that and also having proper planning and processes will help. And there's one challenge that I give to my founders when the companies I start working with. I always ask the person in charge, how many projects are you running?
That's a very good, my one big thing. It's like just literally one thing. Like try and live your life with just one thing. If you're setting goals, just set one goal, and the other things, for some reason, they seem to fall in line. So I've gone dry January, which means I'm eating really healthy, which means I'm back exercising again, which means I am actually okay to be around. I'll leave that for my kids and I'd have to say, my team, my friends, because I was so afraid for most of the year. And everything else just kind of seems to be falling in place. So that's my one big change. Simplify. I wrote about it on my LinkedIn in yesterday's post. So that would be the 5th about this as well. Okay, Naily. Oh my God. I can't believe we come to the end. And like you said, hanging out with you on a podcast, it's just like us two.
I remember last time after we
end up 3 hours later. So, you know, I really like to say thank you to everybody who has bared with us for our 3 hours. Well, it's not quite, but it's almost. And I just want to say to you, Naily, thank you for being here. Thank you for just being the Mary Poppins of Startups and everything that you are doing, with everything, with the businesses that you're working for. But most of all, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being my friend who has walked this path alongside me all these years, and for coming onto this podcast and this YouTube. Right at the beginning of the year, because I know how busy you are. Where can viewers listening find you, and tell us about some of the exciting projects that you have coming up in 2026 as well?
First, definitely share the sentiment as well, and thanks for being in my life and supporting me, and also inviting me on the podcast even. So if anyone wants to find out more about me, please head to LinkedIn. Luckily, I've got a very unique name, so just you'll be able to find me there. If you search yourself for the Mary Poppins of Startup, I like to believe that they will come up even on my YouTube channel where I used to have my podcast as well. Now, this year, I mean, if you need someone to help you, you think about scaling your teams, and you have a lot of headaches, you can't sleep because you have all of this challenging with building a tech platform. And more importantly, if when you talk to tech people, you're wondering, what did they just say? What do I need this? And how do I even translate that to what I need to do and share it with the rest of my team? Then let's have a talk. And my one exciting challenge for this year will be to compete a bit more. So there'll be more on that on LinkedIn. So if there's anyone that loves sports competitions that want to join in, I'd be more than happy to have that support as well.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. And I can not just because Naily is my friend, but I can attest to it. I can name some really good projects she's worked on, and you can actually go and have a look. And maybe Naily, what you can do when we're posting this on YouTube later next week. So we post our videos on YouTube every Monday about 8:40 a.m. Share with us some of the links of some of the businesses you've worked with. And also where everybody can find you. And so I can tell you it is a benefit dealing with Naily. I have been one of those founders dealing with tech teams, and you've got no idea what they're saying, and it is it's what you don't need, honestly, with everything else going on. So my dear friend, we've both seen what burnout looks like up close. We have both had seasons of being completely overwhelmed. And I love that we're starting 2026 with this conversation. We are both saying it's not about doing more, but it's about choosing a change that makes the rest of everything a lot lighter. Now, for everybody who's listening, you don't need a perfect plan this year. You don't need a huge list. What you do need is a shape that you understand, right? You do need to know whether you're building an e-commerce business or whether you're building a software business. And that doesn't make sense. You can see my previous YouTube video where I talked about the shape of your business, because that will help you kind of just like sit with yourself and say, yeah, that's fine. I know where this is going. You also need a nervous system that isn't screaming at you because you feel like you're not getting where you need to get to. And give yourself some love and just go sit down and do as Naily said. just write down a list, and then on your list, mention what it is, or or put it in a wheel, or put it on a mind map, and give yourself permission to sit with that list and choose the thing for you that you really love doing. Like Naily said, her sister loved doing pancakes, and for her sister it was all about making pancakes, right? Some of us, we love cooking, but then cooking becomes a chore because we're cooking at the same time we're looking at our some spreadsheets that somebody has sent. At the same time the kids are screaming. So the thing that we loved doing then becomes an extra thing on the to-do list. So find the thing that you love doing and actually give yourself permission to be able to do it and switch everything off as you're doing it. So here's my question for you as we come to the end. What's your one big change for 2026, whether it's for your big business, for your team, or just for you as a human being? Not human doing, human being. Just find it. Drop it in the comments if you're watching this through YouTube, because I would love to read them all. And from my kitchen to yours, maybe this will be the year for you to have less overwhelmed, feel more anchored, feel more rested in the work that you're called to do. Naily, I'd like to give you permission, an opportunity just to say something as we close off.
No, it's been brilliant. It's been a great conversation, and I love your summary, Yvonne. So if people can, I would say, just once you finish listening to that, don't jump into the next podcast. And even if you're planning on listening to the previous one from Yvonne, definitely do that. But take a few minutes to write that one thing for you, so that it's not just yet more information that goes in your brain without action.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Naily. And from us here at Lockrise, and from me, I'm Yvonne from my kitchen. And I'll see you in our next episode. Bye for now.